Great. Well, thank you so much, everyone. My name is Carolina Alban-Stoughton. I'm the Director of Communication and Engagement at the Carlsbad Chamber of Commerce. And I'm so happy that I get to talk today with Claude Jones, who is the Senior Director of Engineering at Walmart Labs. Thank you so much, Claude, for your time. And just tell us a little bit about what Walmart Labs is for those that don't know. And tell us also a little bit what your role is.
All right. Well, for those that don't know what Walmart Labs is a tech arm of Walmart. And so if you think about e-commerce in general, whether you're shopping online or you're in the store and you're using your mobile phone to actually complete your shopping task, that's Walmart. So that's what we do. So anything technology, think about Walmart Labs. My role at Walmart is I'm the site lead and senior director of engineering that focuses on helping to improve the operational efficiency for the things that we do day to day in the business. So that could be anything from the business going through and helping to curate items that show up on the site, for engineers that are working to actually create the experiences that you're using to make sure that's done with the utmost quality. And we go through and a lot of times we do some testing. We might give you a version of the site that might expose some different features that other people won't see. And so behind the scenes, we're constantly optimizing on ensuring that you have the best experience possible. So all that is what I do to help Walmart transform their shopping experience.
Awesome. So speaking about transforming shopping experiences, give us a little bit of context as to what happened when COVID-19 hit, when we knew it was here and when all those public health restrictions started to be put in place. What happened?
So I guess when COVID-19 hit, all of a sudden things just started getting extremely chaotic. Social distancing mandates started coming up. How did Walmart respond to that? I think one of the things that a few things that Walmart has done is it's the response and how technology could be used to help ensure that we're adhering to some of the social distancing sort of mandates that were in place. So what I mean by that is when you think about Walmart, we have over 4,700 stores within the US alone. And about 90% of Americans live within 10 miles of a Walmart store. So when you think about individuals that could no longer kind of go shopping or didn't want to leave their house, how could they get groceries for what they needed to do? Well, this is where technology comes into play. We have a product called Pickup. So this is in 3,000 stores across the US. So you don't have to physically go into a store to go shopping. Get on your computer, pick your grocery list, select a time and a slot, and drive up to Walmart. They'll load it into the back of your car and off you go. Right? That's part of social distancing that helps out. Delivery, if you don't want to leave your house or if you can't leave your house, you have someone else doing your grocery shopping for you. You enter in that address, they can deliver groceries to your home. So that's another way of being able to ensure that we're able to leverage technology and keep people safe. For those that do go into a store, we have our in-app or our application that allows you to kind of shop and do things, especially with Walmart Pay. So instead of touching the keypad to pay for your groceries, you can use your phone, right? And so we're leveraging technology in a way that really allows people to feel comfortable if they have to shop or gives them different options to shop. So hopefully that answered the question.
Yes. So yes, absolutely. So Pickup, for example, that was an option that me as a consumer, when I had, when my son was a baby and he would fall asleep in the car, is something that I dreamed of because of how convenient it would be. I would drive and say, okay, he's sleeping, I need this, I would love for someone just to bring stuff to the car, and it wasn't available then.
Yeah.
Coincidentally, not coincidentally, but this Pickup option was not because of COVID. It's something that you guys had in place before. So what was that vision? You guys probably did not think of a pandemic. What were you guys thinking?
Yeah, that's actually a great point. Yeah, the things that I'm mentioning aren't things that Walmart did in response to COVID-19. This was part of their strategy longer term. And the goal for Walmart was, how do we help transform the way people shop? And Walmart has such a huge footprint with the number of stores that exist. And we have our digital footprint with Walmart.com, onlinegrocery.com. And between the two of these things, there's over, I want to say in the US, you're looking at over 140 million people that shop on Walmart a week, whether they're going in the store or they're shopping online. So with 140 million people, how do you adjust to their shopping needs? Because their behaviors are different. So Walmart started and said, look, if we could take our store footprint and the digital, presence that we have, and if we can combine these things, this is one way that we can transform the way that people can shop and experience or get what they need at the lowest price possible. So yes, so with pickup and delivery and the apps that we have, Walmart Pay, for instance, it was just a nice streamlined way of being able to transition to something to say, it was kind of a forcing function to have people adopt it even more because people were using it, but they weren't really aware. And so it was just such a timely thing that Walmart could offer this as a service to help people during this time of social distancing.
Did you see a sort of migration of your customers from in-store to those apps, to those platforms? Did you see, was it a significant spike? Tell me a little bit about that.
Oh yeah, I mean, the spike was huge. I mean, when you start looking at the demand, Walmart made a vow that they were going to hire, I think 150,000 new associates in the store just to keep up with the capacity. And so you're looking at in the store, the fulfillment centers, the distribution centers, just to make sure that we can accommodate the spike in traffic. I mean, everyone was shopping online. So just, now that, hey, you can't leave your home. And if you are able to leave your home because it's essential to go grocery shopping, you might be a little afraid to kind of walk out, just with everything that's going on. If Walmart's, it's sort of a household name, with everyday low cost and adding value to the customer, the fact that we have these services available, it was just the perfect storm. And now the challenge that we have is just scaling, hiring enough people to help scale with the demand, making sure that we have the right inventory, and giving the things that people need, and just continuing to add good value for our customers.
And you've touched on a really good point, which was my next question, a little bit of consumer behavior before COVID-19 and after COVID-19. It's like a complete 180 on behavioral transformation and purchasing habits. What have you noticed the most? Like I said, driven by that fear of coming in contact with a virus, or the convenience to match the public health orders, or just a combo of everything?
Yeah, so if we're thinking about shopping patterns as it relates to what people buy and the amount of what people buy, yeah, there's a huge difference. So when you start looking at consumable goods, and when you online grocery, for instance, so paper products, milk, eggs, cleaning supplies, hand sanitizers, diapers for your kids, formula, baby food, these, people would buy them. They would buy them when they need them. If you every 2 weeks or something, you kind of go to the store. Now, when you started hearing about social distancing, and even before, COVID really started becoming, a household name or a pandemic, I mean, people were just hoarding, a lot of the things that I just mentioned, to where you couldn't even go to the store and get anything. And so, you see these shopping patterns just, I mean, it was a spike, right? And even today, you have companies that are now going through and having to put limits on what people can purchase, just so that there's enough, for shoppers that are coming in. Now, I think during the duration of COVID, as things when I say starting to settle, people are getting more comfortable with where we're at. Staying at home seems to be a more longer term thing. So as the technology and sort of this new normal starts taking its shift and people are accepting it, now if you're staying home and you're stocked up on toilet paper and some of these other things, the next thing you're going to know is, I can't go to the barber shop, or, making sure my hair is fixed, or some of these other things. And so these shopping patterns and what people are going to be looking for are just a little bit different. So maybe grooming products to make sure that they look presentable when they're talking on the screens. Their kids, with schools being shut down, how do they keep those kids occupied? So they might be shopping for games, other types of things to be more family oriented. So, I think the hoarding was something that wasn't before COVID, for some of these consumable items that we see. And I think now that COVID has starting to settle a little bit, you're starting to see now families are staying closer together, you need to kind of make sure that you're getting things to kind of help with grooming. You're going to start seeing a flux in those sorts of products being sold.
Definitely. And, and keeping in mind this consumer behavior has changed, due to these adjustments that households are making. Walmart has certainly an advantage because it's almost like you guys were prepared for us. But let's address what's happening with small businesses, with the mom and pops that are, especially here in Carlsbad. Like, there's a few boutiques in downtown Carlsbad. How can they adapt? Like, what does it look like for them currently and in the future? What have you heard?
Yeah. So this is interesting because it's really based on the business. So if I were to go and ask a business, how should you change? Or if a business were to ask, well, how should I change to accommodate for COVID-19? The question that I would ask is, well, how would you best engage with your customers? So if you have a product or you're selling products to where it's really hands-on, right? That people need to kind of touch and feel and figure out what's going on. What would the equivalent of that be if you're going to shift your business online, right? Because if you're in this context of you can't physically come into my store anymore because of social distancing, you're not an essential, business. You have to really look at customer engagement. So when you think about grocery shopping, there's an obvious need there. People need to eat. When you think about some of these other non-essential things, it's how do you really position yourself to try to bring that same level of connection or engagement with your customers in a virtual means? So, that answer is going to be, a bit different depending on the type of store and what you're looking at, right? So
interesting. We have one particular store here who I'm going to talk to for the article I'm writing, and they found themselves, all of a sudden not being able to open. And, but the way they engaged, like you said, with their customers was social media.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how it's been very interesting to see, because it was a combination of social media and texting that got this person to continue to offer, and also offering shipping and delivery. That's the other thing. If you can touch on that aspect too, as to get your products to the person. What kind of changes should they make if they're interested in shifting to online heavy or social media heavy?
Yeah. So, as far as distribution goes, or like a supply chain, I don't know if I'm the expert to sort of speak on that piece for small businesses, but as far as, what Walmart has done, you think about what they've done with kind of delivery, right? So if people do have the ability to drive, right? So if they're shopping for a product, and if people can drive to your store, you might have a no touch, or, come by the curb, here you go, make sure you're 6 feet apart, do a very similar thing like the pickup. Or if you have the ability to deliver, or partnering with some of these delivery services to where if you have something that you want to deliver, if they're picking up from your store, someone comes by and they can deliver it to the customer's home, that could be something to do. But if you're looking at UPS or FedEx, any type of online shopping, if you're setting up an e-commerce site, those normally have some options that you can use from a distribution perspective to kind of deliver things to your customers. So it really you have to sort of figure out for your business what makes sense for you. So if we were going to genericize that, right? And if you're trying to look for, here are the top things that a company should look for. I think number one is, how do you engage with your customers? And does that engagement model really let people know that you're here, the products that you have are selling, adding value, and we're going to make sure that we're going to deliver them to you in the most safest way possible, right? On time and doing that. Do you have an online presence, right? How can people still browse your catalog of what's going on? And when you have certain products that, you need to touch and feel, or try to, if you're selling like a clothing store, for example, You know, if I'm going to pay for a shirt or some pants or some jeans and I'm ordering that and it comes to the house, well, what if they don't fit? Then what happens? Right? You don't have a dressing room to send. So does that mean that now that person has to pay for shipping, to kind of ship it back, or the hassle of, oh, I really wanted these jeans for whatever reason. And, you know, I wanted to kind of get something going. So how do you help streamline that experience? So if you are going to be now shifting your business to something online, you know, the conveniences that you might have that might exist in store, how would you replicate that online? You know, if that makes sense. So like, what is a return policy? You know, how do you deal with customer service? You know, making sure that, you know, you're virtual, you can see, don't have these automated services in place because it's a bit frustrating. You don't have the human connection anymore. So that engagement piece is really important, and really sort of looking at, does it make sense for your business to be online? And if so, how do you make sure you keep that human connection strong?
Yeah, no, that's makes total sense. It shouldn't be like a cookie cutter solution for everyone, but a little bit, there needs to be a lot of soul searching in a way of how to move forward first before, you know, going crazy to go online. I think curbside pickup, it's a pretty good solution though. And that's how this company actually, they started selling masks, and they were doing curbside pickup of those masks, and that helped her. So for in-store shopping, for places like supermarkets and grocery stores, like what are the adjustments that you think are going to be made that are probably going to be long-term adjustments? Because some places maybe wanting to hold off, hoping to go back to how it was, but right now, like, what do you think about that? Do you think this is going to be, these changes needs to be implemented and be thought out for a long-term solution?
Yeah, I think so. This is going to drastically change the way that we live from here on out. This isn't a one and done thing. And, you know, we are now moving into a virtual space. So like models are being proven. So companies, you know, like with Walmart, everyone's working from home, at least on the technology side. A majority of the folks are working from home, and the business is still running. We're still getting stuff done. So now companies are going to have to reevaluate, well, what does it mean to have a lot of office space? Are they going to be more open to have remote workers? Because they can prove that we can get the job done. You don't have to always be centrally located. Business travel, for instance, you know, does a company, could they save on business travel, right? If we can have Zoom and use that and be able to still collaborate and get the things that we need to get done, it might be easier in person, but we've been able to prove that that model is something that's successful. So a lot of things that I felt were taboo as far as how do you kind of work with the business, use, you know, technology, virtual, you know, solutions to help collaborate and get things done, are now proven that they can scale and that they work. So when you start seeing, you know, in the future after COVID is over, we've kind of passed this, this is going to be the new normal. It might not be 100% of the time, but it's going to be a majority of the time. And when you start looking at, well, if a company now sees, well, this is a new thing, that's important. You have to be able to be innovative and pivot. This is something that's going to stick. So now, what are some of the necessities? And let's just take a look at some examples. Think about Blockbuster, those that remember Blockbuster, and then Netflix, who was actually going to sell to Blockbuster, and they didn't. Look at where that is. Now, Netflix is something that's really important. People are home all day, and now they have a virtual way of being able to watch movies. They don't need to drive, get a video, you know, from Blockbuster. I mean, we know how that works. And with this model, guess what's happening? Movie theaters, Comcast had, you know, announced a few weeks ago that now you can watch new movies directly from your home. That's huge. They would never consider that before. They wanted you to go to the movie theaters. So it might not be that when this is all said and done, that they're going to say, no more, can you watch movies at home? Imagine if the convenience of being able to watch a new movie at home and not having to kind of get up there and spend a lot of money, you know, to go to a movie theater, especially if you still have social distancing concerns that might exist, that you can just turn your TV, pay $20 and have the family all around, pop some popcorn and be at home. So if you see companies shifting their mentality just to do that, I feel like some of that stuff is going to stick. Mm-hmm. Online courses with school, you know, there were always online courses already, but now they've become more of a mandate for kids to learn, and it's cheaper than what you might get. And I'm not saying that it's going to be 100% online, but I guarantee you a majority of folks will say, you know what, I can probably get a degree. And people that say I went to a 4-year school and physically was on the campus versus I went and got an online degree, would that change the perception of how recruiters or businesses might look at individuals, right? So that mind shift is changing. Digital workspaces, instead of being in a physical location, now you have a digital workspace. What does that mean? That's a business opportunity. Home delivery services, that's a new business opportunity. You think about virtual services or mobile services that might come up. Those are, new opportunities that might exist. So I feel what's going to happen is there's going to be a lot of innovation. And this is what I would say for companies that are entrepreneurs or that are kind of in a rut right now. How are they reinventing themselves to take advantage of where the future might go? And start marketing yourselves now, because in the next, let's say 6 to 7 months, the world as we know it is going to change.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I was thinking also about like the investment that it's being made on, having for in-store shopping, for example, disinfecting all those carts. The way the store is lined up, it's almost like it has like barricades almost around the checkout areas, and the shields that have gone up also in between the person who's checking you out and the consumers. So do you think those are long-term too?
I think so. I think it's going to be very difficult for people to sort of get over the stigma of the impact that COVID has had on us. You think about the flu, people compare, COVID to the flu, and I don't want to sort of get into a debate on sort of what this means, but, with everything that you read in the media, how deadly that this is being portrayed to be and the impact that it's having on, a number of lives, across our country, if they were to say next week that, hey, everything's good to go outside, how many Americans would still maybe have, the fear that I still going to wear a mask because you never know? Mm-hmm. And would companies, with the investment that they put, what would their perception be? Well, you don't care about my health, or I'm not going to touch that keypad because it could have something to where I could get sick. And so I think it's going to take some time for that perception or whatever biases that sort of existed from everything that we've witnessed, the things that we believe and how it's impacted, our personal lives. I think that's going to take some time to subside. So things might not be as, would we need to have a full barricade, or could there be other innovative solutions that might be able to accomplish the same thing that might not be as obstructive as what we see today? Mm-hmm. I think things will just evolve over time, but still offer the same sort of protection.
Okay. And for a company like Walmart, you guys already had a strong e-commerce presence, but what are your challenges ahead?
Yeah, this is my opinion. Mm-hmm. With Walmart, we kind of mentioned that Walmart has, what I just said, over 140 million customers that shop, over 4,700 stores, and these numbers are just in the U.S. There's 1.5 million people in the U.S. that work for Walmart. So when you start looking at those numbers, it comes down to scale. How is Walmart going to scale and deal with this traffic, or just this influx of individuals now shopping and transitioning to it? Because the customer base, the demographics going to change. Because there might be new people now that might be looking at Walmart services just because of everyone lives about 10 minutes away from a Walmart store. And so how do you think about the supply chain? You talk about delivery. How can we make sure that when individuals are ordering something, it's going to get to them as fast as possible, when they need it? Delivery services. So if they don't want to leave their home, or how do you streamline the way that products are delivered to individuals' homes, making sure they have those options available to them? Item availability. Is everything out of stock? Or are we doing the appropriate forecasting to ensure that, people have what they need when they want it, when they're shopping for it? And then just being able to adjust, if people are staying from home, it sort of opens this door of individuals. But if you have individuals that don't have internet or telephones or computers to do their shopping, how do we help solve that problem if we're trying to reach, a remote part of the country? And so I think these are the types of things that Walmart will continue to innovate on, leveraging technology as we continue to grow.
Awesome. I feel very knowledgeable now. And also a little bit more, I think everything starts with acceptance of what's going on. And I think that once, you go through that process, then you can restart, because that's what it comes down to, really. We all personally and in our businesses, in our lives in general, have to, hit the restart button and go from there. Thank you so much. This was incredibly helpful. And, for everyone who's watching, once again, this is Claude Jones, and I'm going to stick around a little bit after so we can chat. But thank you, everyone, for tuning in.
All right. Thanks for having me. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.